It is business time in the Rugby World Cup. We are into semi-final time, and as it's business time on the field, we need to step our game up. We need to step up the analysis in these preview videos. So we are bringing the detailed analysis today for this game between the All Blacks and England. Kia ora everyone, my name is Zach. I love rugby. Welcome back to Hakatama Rugby. Okay, this match is huge. From this point on, there are only huge matches. And we kick things off with New Zealand versus England. Now, what I'm going to do is just run through and recap their performances to date, both in 2019 in the lead up to this World Cup as well as during the World Cup. We're going to go through their tactics, we're going to go through the squads, and then we're going to work out what are the relevant points to victory in this game. And then we are going to predict a winner. So let's talk about New Zealand first. Now, they came into this World Cup with mixed performances, but they've made it very, very clear throughout the year that the main thing they are focused on is the Rugby World Cup and preparation for the Rugby World Cup. Now, they trialled this dual playmaker approach with Beauden Barrett at 15 and Richie Mo'unga at 10. And I'll tell you, the New Zealand public were not happy. It was not working. Why are you playing the best 15 in the world out of position? But it seems to have clicked now. It seems to have clicked. They've now cottoned on to the way that they want to play. They're both coming in at the right times mutually, and we're really starting to see some attacking flair from this All Blacks team. So, mixed results in the Rugby Championship. South Africa ultimately won the Rugby Championship. And then we get into the World Cup. They were able to defeat South Africa in what was a relatively close game. I mean, the major difference there was the ability for the All Blacks to score points. They had a period of 5 minutes where they were able to put in 17 points very, very quickly. They showed a lot of attacking variety in that game as well as an ability to match some of the physical intensity of the Springboks. Then we got on to the game against Ireland and it was completely dominant. To me, that game just came down to the ability to execute flawlessly with very simple skills, catch and pass skills, and running at pace and dominating the collision. So incredible performance there. So the All Blacks are coming into this match on a high. They really have peaked in the last 4 years. This is the best that the All Blacks have looked to date, and they have saved it for the Rugby World Cup. So that is what the All Blacks have bought based on their performances. For England, their preparation has been very good as well. They had a great lead-up form coming into the World Cup. They were able to have a dominant performance against Ireland, where they showcased their skill sets and abilities and were able to put on a lot of points in that game. And then in the World Cup, they have done everything that has been asked of them. They've got 3 wins, three bonus point victories as part of the pools. And then we get in and they were able to defeat Australia quite comfortably in the end with a very, very dominant performance. So ultimately, this England team is fizzing at the right time. As I say, they've done everything that is required and they have not put a foot wrong on the field and off the field. I've been very, very impressed with Eddie Jones. He brings a bit of colour and flavour to the major test weeks, which I've liked hearing his interviews in the media. And they are ready to go. I mean, they have shown their ability to score points. There's one thing that is very, very clear about this English team. And they have diverse options across the park. I've been very, very impressed with Johnny May, Elliot Daly, Owen Farrell, obviously, George Ford, obviously, as well as their ball runners. Now, I would say Billy Vunipola is slightly... He doesn't seem as dominant as he typically is. He's certainly coming into this World Cup as probably the most dominant ball runner. Between him and Manu Tuilagi, it looked like England had the 2 most dominant ball runners in rugby. Billy has not showcased his full set of skills in this Rugby World Cup, but we know what he's capable of. We know how good Maro Itoje is, and we know even guys like Kyle Sinclair after that try, incredible stuff. So England are very much coming into this game ready, prepared. They've done everything that's been required of them. And really, you look at this and you think, okay, well, there are 3 of the 4 teams in this semi-final. In these semi-finals, we expected to be here. They are the 3 best teams in the world, with England, South Africa, and New Zealand. And for me, they were the pre-tournament favourites. So they're all here. And for these 2 teams in particular, they are peaking at the right time. From a selection perspective, I do expect for England to see George Ford back in the mix. I just think he provides another level of options in attack, and they will look to exploit the kicking game here. I think between Farrell and George Ford, they have a far more potent tactical kicking game, and I'm looking forward to seeing that. I do think that they omitted George Ford in this one because they wanted to really target that midfield. You had quite a young midfield, an unsettled midfield with the Australian team. So it looked like they were really targeting running traffic down that way. But I do think they will come in with a far more settled team here, and that's probably the major change that I expect in this English team. And obviously with Manu Tuilangi there in 13. Now, if that is the case, I think the All Blacks will elect to select Ryan Crotty in this one. He's a little bit better defensively, doesn't give as much in attack as Jack Goodhue, but I think he just provides that little bit more stability in the centres from a defensive perspective, and I think that is something that they will want to try and nullify that attacking threat that Manu Tuilangi brings, and also provide that good defensive link with the wings, who we have seen from an English perspective have been very, very dangerous. Now, I think that the tactics and keys to success here. The All Blacks are fizzing. Strategically, they look good. They're settled. They know exactly what they're all about. The dual playmaker option is working perfectly. So I do think for them it is all about preparation. If they played any team on that day against Ireland, they would have beaten any team in the world, is my view. They were dominant. Now, they did get a bit of help from Ireland with a number of errors, but they were extremely dominant. They would just take, from the collision through to the set piece, through to open running rugby. You just could not stop them. As a contest, the match looked like it was over early in the second half. If they come in prepared like that, they will beat this English team, and that is for certain, right? But a lot comes down to their preparation this week, and I do think they have expended a lot of energy and effort going into that match with Ireland. Now, the All Blacks pride themselves on their mental preparation, and they put a lot of effort into that. The Irish team, obviously, they had a point to prove there with Ireland beating them 2 out of the last 3 matches they have had this World Cup cycle. So I do think mentally they put a significant amount of effort into being ready for that game, and they proved it on the field. They left it all out there. Now, can they get up? Can they recover from that match, which was physical in nature? It may have looked like the All Blacks were dominant, but they had to dominate the physical collision in order to be dominant. That takes a lot out of you. So are they able to rest, recover, and then change focus to England, and then get mentally prepared to that level? I think that's really where the challenge will come from the All Blacks. If they do that, then they will be able to have a high work rate game with low error count, with attacking variety, and with dominant physical collision. And that's going to be the question mark. Can they come in here with that level of intensity and that level of preparation? For England, my belief on beating the All Blacks is that you have to beat them up. And England certainly have the power game to do that. So I think England will come in here and they will look to be disruptive. Now, as I mentioned, if New Zealand are prepared mentally and physically, they are very, very hard to stop. So what you need to do is control the tempo, is point number one. Don't get pulled into playing the style of play that the All Blacks want to play. Disrupt the breakdown so that they do not get clean, effective ball to work from, and win the collisions. That is going to be crucial. And I do think England have both the forwards and also in the backs. They have big guys there that can win the collision, tackle after tackle. If they can do that, and they can just halt the progress and speed and ball continuity that the All Blacks receive, then they can get on top of them. I think they will elect for more of a tactical kicking option as well. I think England will continue to put up the high balls and contest the high balls. I mean, a guy like Johnny May, who brings significant height, is a guy that you want to target in the air. But we do have some good exponents there from a New Zealand perspective under the high ball. So that's going to be quite an interesting contest. But what I'd like to see them do is beat the All Blacks up, disrupt the ball at the breakdown, and then try and get on top of them from there. If they can do that and match the intensity, then they can certainly be successful on the day. Now to predictions. Who do I think is going to win this? How are they going to win it? And by how much will they win it? So it's going to be very, very difficult to stop this New Zealand team. Now, while I do think that they have put a lot of effort into the quarterfinal, I don't think they've played their final yet, and they will be targeting this game as their final, is my view. So they will come in here with a level of preparation that will be slightly below the Irish game, is my view, but they will be very, very well prepared, and they will be up for this one. England will come with a strategy to disrupt and to play the tactical kicking game, and I hope that they do that. If they do, then they can contest this game. If they do not, and they try and match the All Blacks for pace, if they get drawn into a tempo-ridden game, or the All Blacks tempo, then it's going to be a very, very long night for them, because the All Blacks have better skills than any other team in the world, and basic skills from catch and pass to offload to all of those key attributes in the game. So I do expect the All Blacks to be slightly below what they were against Ireland, but I still expect them to have a little bit too much for this English team. I think it will be close, and I think if the All Blacks do get on top of this English team, it'll be late. And as such, I expect them to get maybe one consolation try towards the end, blowing up the margin from, say, 4 points to, say, 10 or 11 points. So that'll be my prediction. I think the All Blacks will win this by 10. Now, 10 might sound like a comfortable win, but I actually think it'll be very, very close all the way up to that point. And then I expect the All Blacks to get a late consolation try when England is tiring. And I think one of their key strengths from an All Blacks perspective is their bench. They can bring on guys like Dan Coles. They can bring on guys like Sonny Bill Williams. They can even bring on guys like Geordie Barrett who can just carve you up. And I think that's what they will do. And as I say, I think they will be just good enough to get the win here and to win by 10 points. That's my thoughts. I'd love to hear from you and hear what you think. What do you think of the key points? What do you think of the key points to victory here for England? Can they get up for this game, and will they get up for this game? And what do you think? Have the All Blacks played their final already? Let's discuss, let's debate. I want to hear all of your opinions. If you've liked this video, please like. Get involved in the discussion, comment down below, and subscribe for more content. We've still got plenty of more huge games to come. And now that some of the teams are wrapping up in the Rugby World Cup, there are huge talking points that are coming out of it as well. So I'm going to be dropping videos on all of it. If you love rugby as much as I do, join me here, and I will talk to you guys in the next one.